Greetings, people. This is Top Cat Jimmy, and thank you for tuning into my channel. This is vlog number 3. Actually, I've got my vlog prequel, and then vlog of day number 1, vlog of day number 2. So that's 3 videos, but because this is vlog of day number 3, did you get that? Vlog of day number 1, vlog of day number 2, and this is vlog of day number 3, plus I have the prequel. So even though I have 3 vlogs up right now, this is actually the 3rd day's vlog, in other words. Okay, so today, or this evening I should say, I would like to talk about the positions in a home recording studio. And I would like for you home recording studio owners and you people who would like to have one and start one, establish one, build one, make one, all right, to look into these positions. There are at least 8 positions in owning a home recording studio. Whether you perform all 8 positions or you have help, okay? And so I'm just going to go over the list and name all 8 right now, okay? Recording studio owner, composer, performer, recording engineer, mixing engineer, mastering engineer, producer, and publisher. You got that? So when you own your own home recording studio, you have that responsibility. And that's what we're talking about. We're talking about responsibilities and duties. Okay. So when you own your own home recording studio, you have that responsibility. Now, to run the studio, what's it about? It's about having and making music. So you have to have someone that can compose, especially if you're attempting to create original songs. Don't you want to be original? Do you want to be original? Do you want to be unique? Let's take an example. The Beatles, back in the 60s. Okay, were they going out and recording 50s songs of someone else's originals and then got discovered and then went into the studio and recorded someone else's originals in Abbey Road studio? No, that would have been copyright infringement and not to mention plagiarism. All right, so let's be original. How did we get the songs that we have today from the 60s and the 70s? I want to say the 50s, the 60s, the 70s. All right, because I grew up listening to the 50s music. Yeah, during the 70s, okay? Not that old. Not that that's old to use that are of that age, you know. But in the 70s, I used to listen to the 50s music. And of course, I was born in the 50s. So I used to listen to the 50s music, the 60s music, and I must say, perhaps I'm biased, but the best music of all, the 70s music, man. There are some exceptions, because we really do have some really good music of today, okay? And, of course, throughout these other decades besides, all right? Just composing, all right? Create originals. Okay, then. The performers, the people who are going to play the instruments. All right. Then, for those people who are playing the instruments, the recording engineer. Let me stop right now. I would like for you to go do some research on every one of these positions. Do some basic research. You will find a wealth of information and knowledge online quickly, ASAP, just like that. That is incredible. What you will learn in a short amount of time of looking these things up. Look up what it is to be each and every one of these things. Look up recording engineer, okay? So that's going to be someone that is going to set up the gear for the recordings to happen for recording that the musicians use to record into. So the recording engineer. And then, once you record, because that is a specific task in itself, then the mixing engineer. Now people might differ and say, well, the mixing engineer is the recording engineer. And I would beg to differ back, because I will say perhaps in some studios the mixing engineer has to do both jobs, but the thing of it is that these are two different tasks. And what I'm trying to say is these are the individual jobs and performances and the work that as a home recording studio owner will have. These are separate, distinct, individual jobs. The recording engineer. Then to sit down and do the mixing. That's the mixing engineer. You record before you mix. Recording and mixing are not the same thing. It takes two different periods of time, two different tasks to record and then sit down at the desk and mix. Don't let anyone tell you different. Now, then, the mastering engineer, because after the music is mixed, the mastering engineer job that perhaps you as a home recording studio owner has to take upon yourself and perform. Now, each and every individual is one of these things that I mentioned. A home recording studio owner that is solo, especially solo, will have to perform each and every one of these and fulfill each and every one of these positions. Then, after the mastering, and I know I mentioned mastering last, and you know what? I probably should have mentioned the one on this list that I'm going to mention now much earlier. The role of the producer. The producer. Check out online what are the job duties of a producer. I will tell you what they are. The producer's job is to oversee all of those things that I've just mentioned to you. He is the man, or she is the woman. That is the person that is in charge. They are the ones in charge of every one of the other people that are doing those jobs that I just mentioned. The producer is the one in charge of all of those duties and tasks and people, and making sure that he guides them. He has the vision of what this project and each and every project is supposed to be and supposed to be about. Yes, he is the one that the mixing engineer answers to, the mastering engineer answers to, and the rest of the people answer to, and they collaborate. Okay? It's not just a matter of authority, it's a matter of leadership and guidance and getting the project down the line and online. So then, I should have probably mentioned, after I first mentioned the number one thing, recording studio owner or home recording studio owner in this case, is the producer next. So take the mindset of being a producer. Take on that role. Don that role. Okay? So look up what a producer does, and then in your mind, that's what I do. In my mind, I take that role of a producer, of the producer in this studio. Okay? I am the recording studio owner, and the producer answers to the recording studio owner. All right? The producer is in charge of all those other tasks. So if you look at yourself like you're the producer first, then all these other roles, okay, in the pecking order and in order, in an orderly fashion, right, according to that procedure, the producer's job is to make sure that every one of these people are doing their job right. And if you are solo in your own home recording studio, take on the role first of a producer. Put that hat on. You follow what I'm saying? Take that mentality. And then, since you're solo, in that case, you are also perhaps the composer, the performer, the recording engineer, the mixing engineer, the mastering engineer. So take that professional attitude on and approach every one of those other positions with that mindset of being a producer. Because then, after everything is done, okay, the work must be produced and published. So that is the next thing on the list, the publisher, right? So the publisher is number 8. So let's recap and say, number 1, recording studio owner. Number 2, producer. Number 3, composer. Number 4, performer. Number 5, recording engineer. Number 6, mixing engineer. Number 7, mastering engineer. Number 8, publisher. Okay? So I have those 8 positions of responsibility here, but I also have number 9 because I am an indie record label owner. All right? And so what goes into that, I'm just going to sum it up in 2 positions. CEO and administration. Yes, I'm my own secretary. I'm my own secretary on all of this without the record label. I am primarily the home recording studio owner, and I'm the producer. Okay, and all those other things I mentioned to you previous, and I am also the administrator. I do the admin work. In other words, I am my own secretary. I have to do all those things myself. My own filings for, well, let's see, the files in my computer, answer my own emails. Let's see, what else? Publish my own music, put it up online. Also, I have to be my own janitor. So I have to clean up my own studio, etc. So there's more than those 8 positions I just named to you. Okay? So probably, I'm just going to say underneath publisher, we're going to say administration, okay? And I'm my own secretary on that note. And then, of course, we could put in janitor there too. And then CEO, admin of an independent record label. So these are the things that I do. But don't you want to grow? Don't get stagnant. Increase. Do not decrease. All right? And like Arnold says, I want to pump you up. All right, so let's do this, man. But, hey, how you doing? Hey, Rocky. Don't tell Adrian I'm down here having a beer. All right, you know what I mean. But anyhow, this is Top Cat Jimmy. Thanks for tuning in to my channel. I say God bless you, sayonara, adios, and we'll see you again the next time.